My name is Mia Ekström and I work at a recruiting company called Top 10. And I work at the engineering department, so that must be my perspective when I answer the questions you have. Yeah.
How to apply for top 10 vacancies from abroad? Do you have any top 10 agencies in other countries recruiting to Norway?
No, we don't have any other departments in other countries. So what you do when you want to apply for a job at Top 10 is that you log on to our website, top10.no, and just see the ads that we have there.
What kind of education or occupation do you recommend to bet
on? I must say, in the engineering area, I think that the transportation and infrastructure business that we should have a shortage there in the future. So, yeah, I would say construction and infrastructure and engineers, of course.
And what kind of engineering?
Infrastructure, to build roads, railroads, bridges, and so on.
Do you recommend higher education, or what kind of, more specified, what kind of education?
Yeah, I would say at least a bachelor, so that is 3 years higher education. And it's also good if you have a master.
What professions, jobs can you offer to foreign workers?
Well, it of course depends on our customers. We have a lot of different customers in mechanical engineering, in the electrical business and construction. So it always depends on their needs and on the market, of course. But on our department, Top 10 Engineering, we look for all engineers mostly.
Do you need to speak very well Norwegian, English, or some other languages to work for you?
In most cases, fluent Norwegian is a requirement, and that is because it's always the working language at our customers. But in some cases, you could get along with just fluent English. It depends always.
Okay, as engineer.
Yeah, as an engineer. Yeah.
Okay. Can you please tell more about the job search process at Top 10 and in Norway generally? What kind of documents do you usually ask for? Which demands do you have? And what do you notice on the resume, cover letter, and during the interview? Do you practice the interview by Skype or phone if the workers live abroad? Does it happen that you pay for interview too?
Okay, I start with the last question. We could take interview on Skype or phone. It's perfectly okay. We do not pay for travel to and from interview. It sometimes happens that our customers choose to do that, but we don't. And over to the documents that you asked about. Of course, you need a CV and a cover letter in some kind that more explains your plan. Because if you are going from another country to Norway, it's very important to have a plan. And in the cover letter, you have a chance to explain that. If you, for example, know anyone in Norway, if you have planned for specific activities, if you have done any research that proves that you would like it here. These kind of things are very important to know for an employer.
But do you need some documents about education and experience?
Yeah, of course. You need something that proves that you have been employed where you have been employed. So just to check if what you have written in your CV is correct. And moreover, it's also very important, especially that when you have education higher education, that you apply for approval at NOKUT, which is an institution that clarifies that your education is in accordance with Norwegian standards. So they can, for example, give you approval for a master's education that is going to be the same as in Norway.
Which demands do you have? And what do you notice on resume, cover letter, and during the interview?
Well, it's important, as I said, to have a plan, and of course you need a permission to work in Norway, and it's very good if you also have an address where you're going to live. All things that proves that you will stay here for a long time. And if you don't have an address, for example, you should try to explain to the company that you actually have a plan and that you are going to stay here for a long time and contribute to the company. So explain your background and also try to explain it in a way that a Norwegian company understands. And what way is your former experience related to that position that you apply for?
But is it personality, or is it experience, or education?
Well, it must be a mix of all, but mostly it's experience, of course, and competence. So it's what's important is what you have learned from your previous experience in education.
How can you easily find a job in Norway? Answering advertised vacancies, register yourself at staffing agencies, or other tactics?
I would say, yeah, it's a classic, but to register to our homepage and to other recruitment firms. And of course, if you have any specific wishes, if you would like to work for a specific company, you can just contact them directly. See if they have any ads on their page and call them maybe.
You are not Norwegian. How did you find your job?
Through contacts, actually.
Okay.
I had a friend here who recommended me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually you used other tactics, not advertised vacancies, not staffing agencies, but your contacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's of course easier. If you know someone, it's of course easier to just talk to them and see if they have any advice. But if you don't, which I think you don't have it if you're going to move here from far away, it's easier to do it that way, to register and plan for your travel and yeah.
Okay. What do you think? Are there higher requirements for foreigners?
No, it's the same actually. So what's important is just to live up to the requirements in the ad.
And what kind of challenges are facing foreigners during job search and when they work?
I think I must say it is the language, because I think that you should really put effort and time into learn the language. This is the first thing you need to do, and read Norwegian books and watch films in Norwegian and so on. Just to learn the language and to know the culture. So yeah, back to your question about challenges. That should be one, and the second challenge could be that that the employer or the companies that you would like to apply for, the job that you would like to apply for, maybe they don't know your education. Maybe you have a very good education in your country, but if that isn't known in Norway, you must put more effort into explain that. And yeah, you must be very good at presenting yourself, and always see your background from another person's perspective, just to check that you say the right information. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any racism or discrimination in Norway, and how to deal with it?
Yeah, I think that there will always be people with these kind of opinions, but it's my and my colleagues' job just to look at the competence and the personality and everything that is in the CV, and just match that with a specific vacancy. So I think that in that way we can decrease the risk of, for example, racism and that kind.
Okay. Where in Norway do you have most jobs? Is it large or small, public or private jobs?
It depends, but it's mostly in the private sector and medium-sized firms maybe, or big firms. And they are in Norway in most, or in Oslo, I mean, in most cases, because we are situated here. But we have offices in Stavanger and Bergen and more cities too. And Stavanger is the fastest growing city in Norway now. So
Stavanger?
Yeah, Stavanger. Okay. So I think there should be a good market for employees.
And especially for engineers?
Yeah, I think so, and especially in the marine sector, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
So no roads and no bridges, because you said it before.
Yeah, but from my point of view here in Oslo and at the engineering department, I would say infrastructure, because they are, as you see,
yes,
they are building enough.
As we can hear.
Yeah, hear it, see it. The government's spending a lot of money on infrastructure now.
Okay. Who are most off at the job market in Norway? Foreign women or men? And which professions can be relevant for foreign women and men at top temp?
It's hard to answer because it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You have the same chances on the same jobs, but I think that the most people that I meet, since I work with engineers, are men, because more men choose to study engineering.
If it's possible to use your education and experience from other countries in Norway,
of course.
or you do need to go to school again in Norway? Yeah,
in some positions it's very relevant to learn again. If you, for example, study law in another country that is far from the Scandinavian system, it is very hard to work, for example, as a lawyer if you study completely different law, of course. Yeah. But if you, for example, used to work as a design engineer in the marine sector, it should be the same. Okay. So in that case, you don't need any further education. It could be good actually to, if you, for example, are an electrician, you should look at the Norwegian standards for electricians and see if you need any kind of permission, approval or something to continue to work with that.
How does Top Temp help foreign workers in Norway to find housing, visa, all the practical problems?
Yeah. We don't have much experience with helping with visa and a place to live or something. But of course, if you apply for a job here and you have a good chance to get it, you could always ask and we will answer and see how much we can help. So we have some experience with employing people from other countries, and in that case we always give a lot of advice. For example, how to find an apartment, what you need if you're going to Skatteetaten to have an ID number, for example. Yeah.
You said you help to foreign workers with some advices.
Yeah.
But where your workers come from? which countries?
It's different. Many come from Sweden, as I. And in that case, it's not very hard, but it is obstacles as well from a person from Sweden, because there are some differences. Yeah, for example, that one with the language that I said before, it's very important. Even if Norwegian and Swedish are close to each other, it's very important to put effort into learn Norwegian. I can get along with speaking Swedish, but when I write, I need to write Norwegian. It's important because that's the working language.
Swedish population is the biggest in Norway, as I know.
Yeah, at least in Oslo, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
but what kind of other countries do you have at top 10? People from which
yeah,
countries?
I know that we have from Russia, Poland, Germany, the US. Yeah, that's just from my memory now.
Okay.
We surely have more. By plan, I mean that you should know approximately when you are going to move here, in what city you're going to live, and do some research and see if you would like it here. If you, for example, will have the chance to do your hobbies, skiing, swimming, diving, for example, and if there are any communities that you could contact to have some social life too, beside work. Yeah, it's basically everything that is important in your life, and yeah, really do some research and see if you like it and how many years you will stay. Because if you are from another country, you will have questions about this on an interview.
Oh, ask such what questions?
About what your plan is, how long you're going to stay.
Okay, what?
Because for an employer, it's very important if you make the decision to employ a person, you want to be sure that that person stays for at least 2 or 3 years. Because it's a big cost for a firm to have employees, and you want to be sure that they also contribute to the business. Yeah.
Okay.
And you want them to like it here.
Okay. So you need to tell about family. If you take family with you,
that's
does
would be
matter.
important to
Okay.
inform about. Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
interview.